to do, Van, I'm going to hire one of these companies to generate a robot that looks just like you, download an AI into it, trained on everything you said on the internet, and then I'm going to talk to you and then beat the crap out of this robot and pretend it's you. That's what we're going to do, okay? That's what we're going to lead to, okay? And I'm going to do
Sounds
the thing.
kinky.
Okay. Welcome, one and all, to yet another episode of WIC TV. It's a cross-ideological space where we come together to talk about issues both political and cultural, from the silly to the serious. Gang, we've got a show for you tonight. I don't think it'll be contentious as last night's content, but you never know. Okay, we'll find out. Today we're going to be talking about artificial intelligence, AI. We're going to talk about is it something that society should be embracing? What are some of the dangers here? Is it something we should fear, we should shun? There's a book written that I found very interesting called If Anyone Builds It, Everybody Dies. And I just thought that it would be interesting to have a discussion on what everyone thinks about the power and the dangers of AI. So I've gathered together a great team. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you all are too. KO Dave, nice to see you. Zephyr Hash, hello. And Magor, is that how you're saying your name? I'll try to incorporate that into the discussion as well. What I'm going to do now is going to give each of these lovely individuals a 1-minute opener, and they can tell us what they think, introduce themselves, all that. It's been requested by the audience that you also tell us the purpose for what you think the purpose of society is. So here we go. And I'm going to give it to Kitty first. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, ladies first. Wow. That's what you're doing it for. Anyway, so yeah, I based my thing on the question of, is AI something we should embrace in society? Will it make society better or worse? Okay. My thing is my opinion is AI's development is inevitable. That we should embrace it by using it wisely. It doesn't matter what we actually think here. It's gonna happen. It's already happened. So we're gonna have to just make do. Its effect on society will be good and bad. So we can point out, we can go on endless quests to say this is how it's going to affect us badly, this is how it's going to affect us well, and the net effect of it is yet to be seen. I think my main challenge to the panel is to try and make me step over the fence to one or the other, to think that it's all good or think that it's all bad, because yeah, the inevitability argument just makes me think it really doesn't matter. Talking about the society thing, the society question, the society is to get along, to go along, to go along to get along, exactly, to keep to communicate and to collaborate, to continue existing. So AI can help us do that. Can and should.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here. Really excited to have you back. We'll get into it as we go. We're going to give the mic to Van All In. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, I'm Van All In, and I say we are seeing more and more of a growing concern that we need to face as a species, as a people, and a community. It's exacerbating and accelerating maladaptive behaviors in adults and minors, leading to a child suicide and an expected 814,000 that may be harmed due to it. Furthermore, it provides false answers that are seemingly true but provide little more than confirmation bias, possibly exacerbating social woes that we continuously complain about. And lastly, we are both losing and planning to lose jobs due to it, with the World Economic Forum's expecting 41% in the workforce worldwide, and at a minimum in the USA, a job loss of 5 million and 110,000. So I say, truly at the end of the day, what we need to do is have a societal or a legislative push to try and control what is the growing concern. Not just due to, hating clankers as Star Wars has properly taught, but what is most important is promulgating what is the next generation.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here. We'll get into it as we go. Next up, we have first time guest on my show. Logics, is that how you like to be called?
Yeah, just logics.
Okay,
Yeah.
there you go, man.
All right, so pretty much I'm a straight to the point. Kitty said a lot of what I was going to say. Basically that, almost all industries they have innovation, and where something is lost, there's something to be gained at the same time. And with that being said, I think that once you just embrace and accept the fact that it's here and it's probably not going to go anywhere, we just need to, one, have regulation, and two, be able to adapt to it and adjust to it the way we need to, because ignoring it is either going to have you frustrated or just lost in the sauce of everything. And we'll get into that deeper. So yeah, I think if we embrace it, that we'll have a better hold on it. It shouldn't be politicized. It shouldn't be, an ideological thing. It's just something that we all should just embrace, just like we embrace the internet, and take a hold of it and just control it. That's it.
Well, thank you for being here. I hope you guys embrace the stream by liking it and subscribing. But we're gonna give it first to Audacity. Go ahead.
My general thoughts on AI is that it can be a good tool. However, the way it's progressing right now and the resources that it needs to operate and the areas in which it's being operated have detrimental effects to a lot of things we take for granted in society. We're going to be seeing a loss of a lot of low-level jobs that could have been used for people to gain entry into a lot of workspaces, develop skills, and everything like that. I prefer it not go that way, but sadly the software itself, the platform itself, is just being operated by people that don't have everyday people's best intentions in mind. They want to get the product out there, they want to get in front of people, they want people to use it, and they want to make the buck before they stop and consider any of the ramifications for it. We're no longer in the age of exploration when it comes to technology, where the internet comes out and it's a great new thing and you can send a text message to someone across the world and communicate with someone. We have a lot of greedy factors involved in technology right now, and a lot of that needs to be curtailed, on top of all kinds of regulation needing to be adopted globally before this tool can be used for any good purpose.
Okay. Well, with that, I think that Kitty's question is kind of interesting to start. Do we think that AI is inevitable? Is that something we all can agree on, that this is
Yeah.
a state of play?
For sure.
Yes.
Absolutely, but its implementation needs to be better controlled.
Okay, we'll start there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's where I
So-
would want to start.
So, especially with some of the stuff I was reading, specifically by Goldman Sachs, they were talking about how the main reason for implementation would be a 15% save in labor cost due to, AI being utilized in their workforce. So in my mind, the best way to alleviate and incentivize businesses not to reduce their current workforce and potential workforce would be to have a 6% tax to incentivize businesses, of course, not to go down this pathway of actually utilizing this tool. Especially if we consider it like the internet, why don't we keep it more as a basis of research than as a tool to do the work that we are too lazy to do?
And with that, we have open discussion. Go ahead, gang. Let's see what you think.
I get the lazy argument, but I also think it's a way to help some people not be lazy. For example, like Wick can probably attest to this too, because I have making thumbnails has been ever so fun now. Now that I have AI, I know that was one of the worst things for me as a content creator, is trying to create thumbnails, and that's just one example. But of course, I think it offered a new lane of agency for a lot of people. I know that an argument may be like, oh, now creative designers may have out of a job because now I can just go and make my thumbnails on my own without paying somebody. But I think it's like me, I'm not a person that has the ability to draw things. And I don't have the money to necessarily pay somebody either right now. But what I can do is tell this AI what's in my head and see it on screen. And I've never been so grateful to have something like that. It's somebody, like, if I could get somebody to design my room because I hate it, I would do that. Like AI. If I get AI to design my room, I would do it. But because I can't afford to pay somebody to do that for me. I'm not good at designing. So I think that it opens up an avenue for people to be creative in ways they weren't able to before. And I don't see that's necessarily bad, but and it also people that are creative designers and do art, they have a new tool to work with as well. So it kind of helps both parties in my opinion.
Yeah,
Well,
and
in my
well, I was just
go
gonna
ahead.
please
say,
Go ahead,
if you're
Apex.
using it for your own personal like means, right? You're making memes with it. You're giving them the wick. That's great and everything like that. But it's a real issue when people start trying to monetize that thing or trying to find an avenue where revenue can be generated from using AI art or kind of scripts or technologies from that. It's half the work isn't done, and you'll have a subset of people that are looking to only consume human generated authentic things naturally. But one thing we do not have right now is a full disclosure of what is and isn't AI generated. But even worse so is that AI generation right now is operating on a lot of like IP theft. The way it aggressively consumes information to generate a result is a huge problem.
with
Right.
when you're talking about job losses, um yeah, the creative sphere is more the one where we talk a lot about, obviously, just as being on YouTube and all of that. But what AI is doing and what everybody's being is selling in business now is AI is going to fix everything. AI, any AI business, your freaking fridge is going to now start integrating ChatGPT and things like that. That's happening. So what people are trying to do with their businesses is use AI to increase efficiency. And you guys are talking, as I'm understanding it, is yeah, people are going to lose their jobs. Actual people will say secretaries and things like that. They will end up losing their jobs. Therefore, we need to de-incentivize that so that we socially engineer that people can stay in their jobs. And we can secure these jobs. I think maybe I'm just a bit too cynical in that way that that's not good. They're going to find ways around it. Number one, and number two, the I suppose the pro argument is, well, then we develop going forward. Okay, we develop we don't have phone operators as much as we did before. Essentially, I never even experienced phone operators. You guys have them in America. Um, you don't have that anymore. We develop past it. When technological advancement happens, jobs will inevitably fall away, and that will create other types of jobs. This is the pro AI is, well, yeah, there'll be other jobs. You can be a prompt engineer and this, and it's the learn to code kind of crowd where it's like, okay, well, world has changed. Okay, skills need to change. This change has just been so rapid that I can understand you're wanting to regulate it. I just don't know how effective that's going to be in curbing the effects. Like in terms of just the way businesses are run. Like you're not even eliminating roles. You're just making roles change as well. You're going to change the amount of work people are doing, and your regulations are not going to change that as well. So I don't know.
I,
I guess.
I'm gonna give Van
Yeah.
a chance to answer it.
Mm.
I got an
So
opinion,
I
but
was just simply going to say that, yeah, Kitty, what you do say makes a lot of sense if you have the mindset that a lot of the replacements are just going to be, you know, writing for emails, or let's say helping
Mm-hmm.
select stock options or so on and so forth. But a lot of what we're seeing is a lot of the low skilled first time jobs that will be choking out what is a lot of the younger force that is coming into the workforce. But furthermore, the type of jobs, and it's why I have it on, where they are interim positions from a, I believe it's white collar to blue collar position, or forgive me, blue collar to white collar position. It is reducing what is people's, actual capability within the workforce, but as well,
Mm-hmm.
it will make a reduction within that workforce itself. So, like the clearest example, and this may be a little bit overly reductive, but something like McDonald's, where they have to have a workforce of 6 people to make, the storefront operate, where now with the implementation of AI to take the orders, they only now have to have 4 to make the storefront run, where it is saving them that, amount of labor cost. However, it is then ruining the capabilities for those who need it.
Who
Mhm.
needs
Another
go ahead.
another caveat under another point on that is that AI in terms of quality assurance, quality control right now is not all that good. So what we're ending up with is AI replacing a lot of processes, but it's not necessarily ensuring that the end result is made to the quality, made to a quality that is generally accepted. So you have these AI cashiers and stuff, and then you have people complaining that it's not taking their orders correctly or whatever. It's miscalculating things. There's a great video going around of this dude at the drive-through window, and his bill's like $1,500. Like, why is my bill $1,500? And the thing goes, oh, sorry, recalculating. It comes back and it turns into 15 grand. And it's like it's probably a fake video, but it is funny, right? But it is a general consensus amongst people that that is the issue at hand here. Now, for the regulation of I understand that it's going to change jobs, and kind of what I just was talking about is that maybe
Mhm.
people go from actually processing data to quality control of data. But
Yes,
another
that's what I was
thing
going
we
to say.
could talk about is what industries are we going to heavily restrict AI from operating in? Would you want AI
Mhm.
flying your
Probably
plane? Would you
across.
want AI diagnosing your cancer and so on and so forth? That's
Uh,
where the
yeah,
conversation really needs to go.
I think you would really have to go granular. The whole thing of going above just AI, any AI role or any AI involvement, just here's the tax that you've got to put on it. I don't think that works. We would really have to go on quite a case by case, industry by industry, process by process basis to
Hmm.
see how it works. But yeah, that's what I was hoping hoping we would talk about is the human regulation. This is the pro AI again. There's lots of people out there that are so excited about AI. They
Tech
are also like, well,
bros.
it's fine. Yeah, they're like, oh well, it's fine, guys. We will just humans will go um from being the doer to the checker. They check
Hmm.
that's not going that the quality assurance is that's what a human does because a human has as much as the GPT and the this and the that has all of this context going into it. A human has way more,
Hmm.
and that can occur. So that could be that could be the way that we develop naturally without social engineering of taxes and things and de-incentivizing and things like that. It might
Yeah,
naturally just through a market
yeah.
process do it.
It
But
was my
yeah,
father's concern that because this was all coming out, and what I work in has to deal with a lot of information processing, and he's like, "Well, what's going to
mhm.
happen to your job?" And I was like, "Absolutely nothing, because AI doesn't have agency.
Yes,
It cannot represent a company or sign off on anything legally right now. And if anybody's trying to pass off something AI generated as legal affirmation, any kind of document or contract or whatever, they're wrong for doing it, and they're probably going to get sued. Now, there was an article about airline in Canada or whatever had a contract generated by AI that had to be enforced. It had to be allowed when people were, using the contract to return tickets or whatever it was. I forget the whole article, but the interesting part of that is the only reason that's the case is because that contract that AI had generated had to go through someone's hands to get approved to be put out there. Terms and conditions had to get approved by a person first.
Okay, just a
is that
couple.
maybe
Would
is yeah,
Just a couple
sorry.
things real quick. $5 from Lives and Devs Walls to say AI is a reflection of the users. Its use cheats exams and as a surrogate partner or therapist rather than a learning tool indicates cultural sickness. And then $5 more from Testicle Johnson to say, question for the panel: how long until AI can trick me into thinking it loves me? Furthermore, how long until we integrate this into Japanese sex robots? And we've been talking a lot about the
Couple
economic
months.
concerns, and we can continue to do so. But at a certain point, I do want
Mm,
to talk about the societal concerns over AI and what it's doing
yeah.
to us on a interpersonal level and on a cultural level. But continue with
Mm.
your lines of questioning for now. Go
I was
ahead.
going.
Let's give it to Logics, and then let's give it to Van Allen. Go ahead.
That's
I was gonna say in response to. I'm sorry. What, Audacity?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in response to what you said about the checking and stuff, just like in what Kitty said too, how instead of the doers we're the checkers. I think it also gives you another another check, I guess AI has become like something you can reference to, and it's also another
Mhm.
thing for you to cross reference. So, like she said,
Right.
like instead of actually having to type up an entire contract, who knows how long those pages could be. If you were to have AI do that, somebody still has to read it. Like I don't think it would be wise for anybody to just, all right, here you go. But while it's typing it, like even if you're, doing it as it goes, you can be checking things and changing it, and it gives you more time to do other things. So like it's not, I don't see that as necessarily taking away a job. It's just giving people room to do more and double check things. And I think it's like I said, it's an extra layer of reference, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, in my position I am at right now, I am solo flying it. It would be nice to have a secondary because when you work in information security, cybersecurity, compliance, and regulatory body, it's nice to have someone to bounce ideas off of. I don't have that, and even though it could be a topic I'm 100% sure of, I might open Claude up to argue with it, to throw certain things about it, and then go through the process of correcting what it's saying to me because I know it's wrong about something, and reinforcing what I'm about to put pen on paper to get to put out there to update a policy or something like that. So
Yeah.
it's it does have that benefit, but the way, to Van's point earlier, the JP Morgan Chase stuff, it's too rapid. It's being put out there. Hey, you could save a lot of money. I could use the AI to do it, right? But if I have fully committed to using AI instead of hiring someone else, I've taken away a fairly well-paying job because of my own comfort. You're like, yeah, the AI is good enough. When the reality is that if I had someone who was trained and educated, or even capable of document management, not only could I be employing someone, but I could also be working with someone that versus an AI is better at learning, adapting, giving genuine opinion on information, details, and stuff like that. And you miss a lot of that when you're just chatting with an LLM all day.
Well, in
Okay.
continuing this idea of the degree of reliability, something that's really on my mind is where do you truly think that it would be feasible to implement it without fears and worries that there will be a necessity for somebody to watch over this? Because my mind immediately turns to how it's not reliable when it comes to lawyers, how it made up that one fake Royler v. Nelson case, how even when it just comes to thousands years of old 1,000-year-old philosophy research, it changes a one line of what is Socrates on wisdom, and it completely misses what is the significance of the Socratic method. And furthermore, even when it comes to, and just because legality is my wanted forte, drafting of simple stuff as NDAs, something that anybody can grab from, Google, print, and then send to somebody to sign. The biggest issue is it once again makes a document that is not not able to be contractually held due to how it's written. And furthermore, going back to the utilization of AI, as Logix was saying, I have no issue when it comes to personal use. Now, when it comes to verify, always make sure to verify. But my only stipulation is if you were to utilize it for your YouTube and it made, a revenue for it, we have a way to implement a tax upon your LLC. It would be as simple as that. One simple way to curtail what would be its utilization. And to get on the specifics of thumbnails, I've been using a bit of AI, but I've found paying somebody's a lot better. Like the hand-drawn stuff is 1,000 times better.
Oh,
I
you've got
hate it,
money.
but it is.
That's nice.
Exactly.
No, I'm
That's
poor.
Hey,
That's the issue.
I wish I could though.
Yeah, but that's a
like for
contention
the
with its
amount.
current capability, not where AI is going. It could replace a whole ass person in the future. Its current capability right now is nonsense, but we don't know where that development could lead to the future.
I guess
I guess that's what we. Yeah.
no,
Sorry,
go
Vic.
ahead, Kitty, please.
I guess that's what we should also try and define here. What are we talking about when we say AI as well? They're like I suppose when you see a tweet, it's about like ChatGPT and Grok and Claude and all of those and the LLMs, essentially mostly that. We're not really talking about other kinds or other utilizations. The most, I don't know, the most popular and widespread, um, you know, AI has been the LLM. It's like it's blown up. Everybody's using them, no matter what. People are, you were talking when you were talking about personal use. I was like, everybody in their job, no matter what their job is, they're using it. So
Is that
At
good
some
or
point or
bad?
another,
yeah,
yeah.
Hold on. Let's stick on this. Is that a good thing or a bad thing or a neutral thing?
I think it's
bad.
neutral.
So I can,
I think it's neutral.
without saying too much specifically about my company, so I don't get into trouble, it actually has been somewhat of a downtrodden effect where we are now having to go above and beyond and seemingly try and fix what is something that is supposed to be easily third-party implementable and actually causing issue to the performance of files being, outsent, which is necessary on a federally mandated deadline.
Right. I will never ask AI. I will never ask these LLMs, and that is a distinction we have to make right now. It's not AI right now, but it will be eventually. But right now, these LLMs, I will never ask it to draft, configure, or framework any kind of thing I'm about to put in policy, production environment, test environments, anywhere in my professional life. I'll go ask it a question, bring it back. I'm not putting anything it takes to me anywhere without a massive degree of scrutiny, or primarily just not at all. Like I said, I use it as the rubber wall for my thoughts to just bounce off of and see what comes back and actually sticks. It is not, it is creating the companies that are introducing it to, are utilizing LLMs to increase productivity, are finding that they have to spend a lot of time double checking a lot of people's work now, because a lot of people, they're supposed to be the checkers, but they're not checking.
They're not
So
checking,
Yeah,
yeah, they're just like, this is what I'm supposed to do, so here it is
and
now.
they just throw it out. They
but
don't.
I,
They
I
do
feel
not.
like
Go
I
ahead,
think
Logic.
that would still fall onto the person regardless. Like we know
Mhm,
AI
it
can
should.
make mistakes. People make mistakes too. It's not like we're infallible when we do these things,
Mhm.
especially if it's
Right.
something that's super long form. So I don't see how if AI was to do something, if that's just being careless, regardless. If you don't, if you know that you're using it, whether you should or shouldn't, if you just hand it over, you're not doing your job regardless. Same way as if you typed up an entire contract or whatever it is you're doing, a business plan, anything, and you don't look at it again, that's on you. So I think it's the responsibility still comes down to who's ever doing what with the AI. You shouldn't just take it as just like people kind of like, oh, I typed this on Google, saw it, and just like, yeah, this is my proof. It's like, well, come on now,
No, yeah,
what was your due
but
diligence? You know?
I'm gonna disagree. If a company allots for or provisions for its employee workforce the use of AI tools, but does not
Mhm.
properly framework or outline how they're supposed to be used and what your responsibilities for using it are, it's the company's responsibility. And I can tell you, because of the massive surge and push to get these AI tools out there, is very likely the case. The reason they're having so much of this backlash, so much of this need for double checking and this failure rate for things being produced in house, is because they were not people. You've at the low level, you're expected to just answer the phone, create a ticket, answer the phone, create a ticket. You give them this tool, you don't train them on it. You just say it's there to help you out, figure out answers or whatever, and then you send them on their way. If that's the
It's
extent of their
being
training, they're
abused.
gonna screw up, man. They're
It's
just gonna
being
fail.
abused.
Well,
Yeah.
and especially in my mind, because I don't know all of our ages, but I always just assume I'm the youngest. What I've been seeing a lot, especially when it comes outside of just the notion of implementation of AI, when it comes to training in field, is a lot of the notion that you already have pre-existing knowledge prior to entering that new sphere of, that new sector of the market. The biggest example in my mind is alone banking. So with especially the implementation of AI, there will become that over reliance upon it that will have a detrimental effect in the long run.
So for me, I'm looking for our disagreement in all of this, because I don't want us to agree too much. Don't worry.
Don't
But
worry, I
but
got some stuff.
I,
I will take care of it. But
no,
go
but I
ahead,
am.
please.
But I'm not necessarily completely in full disagreement with you that I can see, because I literally have a list of because I'm focused on the question on whether it'll be good or bad for society. Is it, I can list net positives, I can list net negatives. I can say, oh, this is going to end in the entire disaster of the human race. I can create a scenario like that. But and what I said was, well, what I tried to say, but I got nervous, was is that really how it affects us depends on how we go forward now, how we actually tackle these problems now, whether we land up dead from it or not.
To that
Wait,
end, and if
yeah.
I may kind of jump in a
Be
little
the
bit,
moderator.
right? Not just a moderator, but I have opinions as well, right? And it's my show. I yes, it does depend on how we use it, but now it's being developed by companies who have a profit incentive to make us use it all the time for all the things. Look at the Grok AI companions. You can get yourself an AI boyfriend or an AI girlfriend now, right? Do you think that this is going to have a positive effect on society or a negative one? I can't see it being positive, but perhaps I'm wrong.
I think with
Case
that
by case basis.
example, I do think that's negative, but a part of me is like, well, what do you do about people that literally cannot find companionship? Like we know the
It could be good for them.
I'm being a little silly, but at the same time, like I don't think that's I'm like it's like a 90-10. I think that's bad. I don't think we should encourage people having a virtual companion that's supposed to love them. I don't think so, but I do know that there's some people that really struggle with that in real life, and that may be the best route for them. But that wouldn't be my first go-to for those people.
I think
So especially with
Go ahead, Kitty. and
please
then-
go, Kenny.
yeah.
I think we need to also, maybe what we should try and figure out where we disagree on this is, like, do we deal with these problems through like tough regulation, or do we see their consequences and naturally adapt? Do we let the market adjust?
I'm
Because
all
I'm
for
thinking,
a lot of regulation, honestly. I'm for
really?
quite a bit of regulation,
Well,
to be completely honest.
Kitty has a good point in that we have to let failures happen first before we really identify the flaw points and fix them up. You can't cart before the horse this problem because we just don't have enough information. The AI companionship thing, though, long-term psychological damage may be a result of that if it's not curtailed. Like it setting unrealistic expectations for human interaction, for relationships, for how you can talk to or treat a thing could very well translate over into how you actually start treating like people. It may actually give someone confidence to go out and try and get a real wife or girlfriend, but it could ultimately start to translate into a lot of consequence and just ill-developed people.
But the
So
go
when
ahead,
it
Ben.
comes, please go, Wick. Forgive me.
No, you first, and then I'll go.
Well, okay. So outside of the legislation upon the business, as I was imploring something as a way to curb its utilization, comes to the actual private use, adults, I don't care. Do as you will. I don't give a shit. When it comes to minors, though, something that, especially being so impressionable, it will lead to two negative effects that we've already seen data clusters of 13% of users when it comes to these companionship apps, where they have these adverse health of something called ambiguous loss, functional emotional dependence, where especially when we already have such a radicalized, emotionally strained youth, having some type of, third party conversation that they can have completely on their phone at any time, separate from another, is going to be very problematic and accelerate negative traits furthermore that we don't want in a civil system.
What would everyone say to a law put into Congress that says, hey, if you're under 18, you can't use these LLMs. It bans its use at schools and high schools and things like that, bans its use at universities, bans its use by anyone under 18. You are legally not allowed to use or utilize LLMs. Make it like porn, right? You got to verify your age before you're able to touch them, right?
I mostly wouldn't have a problem with that, but then I'm kind of thinking, will they be left behind if it's something they can learn from it? You know, like I think we should be learning AI because like we know it's not going anywhere.
Part of our
So
world.
yeah, it's kind of like you're just being held back from something. Imagine if we said, yeah, don't touch the internet before 18. You know, I
That would
just
probably be good, wouldn't it?
not,
Right? Like it'd probably be
No,
good.
No,
no, no,
there's a
No.
not completely ignore it. No, some
Well,
social
what
media
is this?
is
we
different,
grew
but
up with the internet.
Yeah.
We grew up
Yeah.
with the
That's my
power of
argument.
the internet.
And I'm
right?
fine.
Like-
that's what he's saying.
But-
He like,
What
Mhm.
what is this positive usage that could be for a minor? Because especially on the research front, it would be very problematic, especially because
Well-
kids aren't going to verify anything. But furthermore, like in the state of Florida, a kid killed himself due to one of these,
Yeah.
communication
Well, that's-
chatbots.
Now, if you're
And
just talking
there's
about
an actual
companions, I
judge
would-
bringing
that's-
a law
yeah.
about
not
it.
companions.
If you're getting into the
if he was
specific,
talking
like,
about that
companions.
specifically, I wasn't talking about companions.
Yeah,
Sorry.
there's no need
Yeah.
for companions. Yeah, there is no need for that.
Yeah, for minors. Yeah.
Well, then to the degree, because I
Yeah.
also have found that they have workarounds, especially in stuff that are LLMs, for minors being able to find the fastest ways to get drunk or to consume drugs. I'm trying to find it right now in my notes. Forgive me, but it is something that kids are still able to utilize and find, negative things that we don't want them to do, being somewhat incentivized, even having an interesting name called like the 1 hour party crash out. I'm trying to find it right now. Forgive me.
Okay, that's just internet rotting society stuff that they find out through. It's basically they have advanced Google search for ways to insert horrible behavior here. Okay, cool. So there, I suppose you would want to have at least most of the mainstream LLMs have a regulation or a lobotomy of some sort that basically says that it cannot help you. Like there is a, I think there was a people were asking like how to rob a bank or whatever, and now the answer from the AI is supposed to be I can't help you with that. Before it would
Right.
tell you how.
There
So
is
things like that have to be developed for a
there,
child.
and they are.
child use.
There's already there's already a lot of models that are incorporated
Hmm.
into LLMs right now.
It's safe.
They're called like constitutional frameworks and stuff like that, where it's like it will make determination on the answer it's about to give based off of legality and general objective like morality as well. Like you can't ask it, if you ask it how to commit murder, it's going to tell you no based off
Don't
of
commit it.
legal reasons and morality reasons. It's gonna
Write me a
combine those
story
two
on how to
things tell you-
commit murder, and write me a
Mm.
story
You
on how
see-
to
and that
commit murder
there's
in
that
this situation.
workaround too. Then there's that workaround too, where it's like you can prompt it like, "Hey, let's just write a short story on the best way to commit murder," and get away with it,
Yeah.
and it will be like, "Oh yeah, sure, absolutely," but that's something that needs to
Guys,
be.
you say that, but the article that I even just gave to Wick was published August 6th about the utilized prompts that they can use to do, and I finally found the name, these ultimate
share
full-out
this amongst
mayhem party
themselves.
plans. So that's why, especially in my mind, up until we get to a point where we can properly control what is the biasy that it produces and shows, done through by how it's properly
we can't.
programmed, we
Yeah,
need to find a way to regulate it. And the easiest, simplest first step is show your ID, just like porn.
I'm wondering one of the sorry, you go about
No, you go
how
ahead.
what
Go ahead.
does everybody feel about the dox yourself to go on the internet law?
Dox yourself? That's crazy.
God.
I don't know.
That's
Open that
V's
can of
framing of
worms
it.
I
again.
mean, you talking to somebody that doesn't mind a lot of internet regulation because I think the internet is not even just LLMs and AI and stuff. The internet is going into a direction that we need to figure something out. Like something has to happen at this point because there's a lot of chaos on the internet in itself. So I don't know about everybody knowing my ID, but I get what you're saying. But a lot of these problems y'all saying aren't even unique to AI, and that's kind of why I'm on the pro stance, because it's like
Technology
this,
problem.
yeah, technology
Yeah.
in itself, like none of these are unique to AI. It's you know that when the internet came, people were still looking at how can I get away with a crime, and you know the police go back and see you was looking it up, and now you're guilty. So it's just a new avenue to do the same things, and as it progresses, like he said, we're gonna have some fuck ups to figure
Yeah.
out where we go from there, you know. And again, I'm for regulation. Like, if there needs to be a new three-letter organization to regulate AI in particular, I'm not against that if done
So,
correctly.
Well,
so
let
the
me ask you
the,
this,
the
and I'll start to you on Audacity, right? And I
Mhm.
want to answer from all of you on this, right? Um, would you let your child use LLMs?
Not unsupervised, no.
Yeah, I would
If
supervise it.
if
But
it
you
was
would under supervision?
yeah,
Absolutely.
Interesting.
because well, one, right, you should be doing a lot of things with your child under supervision, you know, especially up to a certain age, like 15, 16, right? But not only that, but I don't want them to miss out on this technology that's going to become very apparent in the near future. Like it's coming, it's going to be here. You're going to have to learn how to interact with it, what it's capable of, and what to do if it fails or you fail to use it properly. So I wouldn't take it away from them outright.
Yeah, show how it fails. My
Yeah.
niece is restricted to how she's allowed to use it. Apparently, I think she still has a bit too much freedom in that. You know, her parents aren't monitoring her chats. Like I would need the ability to be me as a human being, not Mr. Government over there. Me looking at my child's chats that they're still whereby under supervision. I mean, I can have access to your chats. Um, so I think the manner in which we do this restriction is probably where we would land up arguing or finding fault, because like the ID method, people are getting upset because they want to remain anonymous on the internet, that sort of thing. One of the suggestions I haven't heard people talk about is on the device level, just at the device level, figuring out who is using a device. Yes, that would mean an adult could do face verify, or an adult could log in for you in the same way an adult can buy alcohol for you as a
Mhm.
child. That could be a better way of doing it. I don't know about removing complete anonymity from the internet, um, because that's essentially
Well,
what's
Well,
going
that's
to happen.
almost a separate debate,
and
right?
I was about to say.
yeah, it's easy to process identification materials without revealing anyone's
Storing
identity.
them.
I mean, at least in the U.S., I don't know how it is over there, but you know,
The degree in which you choose to interact with a business entirely falls upon. Now, I enjoy my anonymity, especially with, you know, stuff like Twitter, because we all have seen how Twitter is over the last 10 fucking years. Forgive my language, genuinely. But when it comes to my
No
actual
fucking way that
interaction
you're
with
fucking
Twitter,
cussing on my fucking panel. Okay.
I don't know, how
Bitch,
dare I, right?
calm the fuck
But no,
down.
truly, at the end of the day, if Twitter required me to give them my ID just to utilize the platform, I would do so. Because I'm of the mindset that I, as the individual, is most significant on how I interact with these things. That's why, to your question, I restricted myself upon going to social media up to 21. I
Mhm.
wouldn't allow my kids to utilize that up until they are mature enough to understand what they're doing.
So $2 from Lives and Des Walls to say we need to make the AI fight like Pokemon. Fair. True.
Grok wins because he's just got a cool name.
$5 from
That's all.
Gelatinous Rube to say Wick comes to me with AI dungeon delving. I build it and he comes out against AI. Now Wick's waifus is dead on arrival. Come on, man. Thank you for $5.
Waifus!
$5 from Testicle Johnson to say when sex robots are programmed with the most cutting edge AI, will they start faking headaches too? Good question.
That should be a
No.
regulatory requirement.
Yeah, if
That's
you're good at
we
too
got to
much.
ensure that people that are using AI companions can get the full effect and the full experience.
Well,
Yes.
Otherwise,
well,
they're
one
just
of
You
the
gonna
things
get
that
see
hold
how
on,
uncanny
just
those
real
things
quick.
are, though?
Just real quick.
Hmm?
We keep talking about like how it's going to benefit or hurt us economically with jobs, and how it might hurt development and things like that. But I'll just say it. I think that AI is making us dumber and less able, like in every metric. And it's being used to cheat in school. It's being used to make arguments, right, for people instead of people having to go through the process of
Is
developing
this
their own
true?
arguments.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
just it's making us worse in every metric. So when you say, "Well, I'd let my kid use it because they need to know how to use this technology," part of me is like, do they? Would they not be better off as people having never touched this poison?
Well, and that's something I kind of wanted to talk about because,
You first and Logic.
especially in my mind, gotcha. Just what's more significant when is it passive or active learning? Because especially a lot of AI is passive learning. You're just getting a direct answer that doesn't actually give you the detail and necessity to research that topic and learn it specifically. And I know it's a bit of a hawk point because of Google, but Google, especially with how you'll get 1,000 websites for a single search, still requires that active participation in learning compared to something like an LLM.
I was gonna
So
say,
does that? Yeah.
I fully understand what you're saying, Wick, but I think that in and of itself is something you learn from. I think if you don't firsthand,
Mhm.
like if you don't have somebody guiding you through the AI, right? Like if you just hop on and start using it, and and then like you said, you use it to make arguments. I think the moment you're confronted with that, and then you learn that you've been told a lie, or you didn't really understand the concepts you were trying to argue, you're either going to continue to engage in that ridiculous behavior, or you're going to be like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't rely on this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's what happened when if I used to believe in a conspiracy theory, and then I'm like, wait, why do I believe in this? And then I'll go check, a bunch of references, and I'm like, there's no real proof of this, huh? And now I'm like, okay, I need to figure out ways to actually have backing behind whatever I'm trying to argue or whatever I'm trying to learn or whatever. I think that in
When
and
I
of
was
itself could be an
younger, right?
experience.
When I was younger, before the internet really blew up and social media was a thing, right? When we just had like AOL and things like that, we were dialing up. I know I'm old. One of the things that people were
We
excited
never
about the
had.
internet, right, was that we were going to have an age of smart, intelligent people because of all this access to information, and all this access to information would make us wise, and it didn't
Mhm.
work
True
out. So
Tiger Arrow,
This is
baby.
true.
right?
This is
So when
true.
you talk
We
about
were
like,
entering
hey,
the
now I
truth.
can just go and like if I get shown information that disproves my conspiracy theory, like fair, but conspiracy theories have become so prevalent because
You're right.
there's a flood of information, and we have poor processing power in a lot of cases to
Mhm.
discern, right,
Yeah.
accuracy, and that's getting worse with AI, to be clear. Like, let's talk about deepfakes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, people
but
fall
wait,
for them. Yeah.
before we get to deep fakes,
Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
deep
Just
fakes, Logic's. Sorry, you've been waiting and you've been really holding
No,
on to
Kitty, go.
the
Go ahead,
advance.
Kitty. Just
Okay,
talk over him.
okay. Well, Logic's. You were talking about, yeah. You will find out that your thinking and your dependence on AI. Right now, that's kind of how it is. If just depend on AI, and then you get into a conversation like we're doing now, I can't quickly go and try and speak to Grok and figure shit out. Yes, you would know that I'm doing it, right? Because of just the context. And then I could learn and have to rely on my own brain. Okay, again, cool. That's where we're at now. But considering children developing, what if all of us forget how to be just normal? That, like, I'm saying what if. I'm just saying that the skills, these critical thinking skills will atrophy. And that is
They are
worrying. So
already.
but yeah, they're already atrophying. So I'm just wondering, cool, that there's no real true regulation other than in ways to curb this, other than to be aware of it, all of us to be aware of it, and to like to strengthen ourselves against it.
Well,
So make sure that
there
you're
hasn't
not
been any real
depending.
consequence yet. These AI developers are insulated industries, insulated companies from any kind of real consequence, even though the various complaints and arguments that have been made against them. You don't see a lot of businesses or government officials making any kind of moves against them, especially in the United States. In Europe, they're trying to do their best to do it. And they're making some progress over there, but it's just they're having the same conversation we are right here, right now, which is like, where are the failures? And I don't think that regulatory bodies and a lot, and this is, to the anti-AI argument, this is because of the failure of these regulatory bodies to identify problems, address them, make sure they don't happen. The AI is a rapid detriment right now for social things if it goes unchecked. If you don't have parents that are going to supervise, or schools that are going to enforce no AI policies, or workplaces that are going to enforce or going to lay out proper training and utilization skills for AI tools, you are going to see dumbing down, failure rates, and degrading of day-to-day interactions with society just as a natural side effect. I hope we learn to do better, but I think people are just a little too addicted to how cool it is to work with these LLMs right now and not actually
I'm
check
generating
themselves.
images of all of you as we speak to keep my mind occupied, right? I'm like feeding it into Grok and saying, make up fan fiction,
Well,
okay, about all of these
and
individuals. Crazy. $10
just
from Liz, and we're gonna give it to you in a sec. $10 from Liz and Des Walls to say, once men turned their thinking over to machines in the hope that this would set them free, but that only permitted other men with machines to enslave them. Frank Herbert Dune. Go ahead, Van.
well, all I was simply
That's
going to
electric
say is
sheep,
going
isn't
back
it?
to the whole
Go ahead, man.
Sorry.
electric sheep.
Yeah,
Don't worry
dude.
about. He's interrupting you. Just go ahead, Van. Just stay on
Yeah,
target.
sorry.
Stay on target.
Just going back to the idea of how it can possibly be an issue, and the growing this ideal of regulation coming. I think the biggest example is the whole kid who did kill himself by the convincing of one of these LM chatbots, however you want to conceptualize it, because that will become a new legal precedent specifically about this new
Yeah.
emerging technology. But furthermore, and especially because my mind of legal cases, the more and more lawyers that are stupidly utilizing this tool and it just making up cases will lead to either some type of declaration by, a bar association, or maybe even to the actual courts themselves, a non-utilization of this tool. So I think it's coming, it just takes time. But going back to the passive active ideal, do we not have issue that it's just so ready to give you an answer without you having to learn anything about it? Because I see it more and more, and especially with religious conversations, how they're so assured because they get this quick answer of what somebody says, but don't actually want to conceptualize the logic behind what you're saying and the issue with it.
That's an issue for then education. We need to adapt in the way that we teach, in the way that we test people. So essays, the writing, there was a great thing circulating on Twitter. The writing of the essay is actually what was what you were learning a lot of the time in a BA degree. It's all about teaching teaching you to think. That's why you had to write essays in college, and that is not happening now anymore. Now it's just, okay, ChatGPT has to do it. I can see that on a school level, there is a way we could do it where there's kind of a ChatGPT student, okay, version of an LLM that's the only one that they can use, and it generates a quiz after everything that you need to, I don't know, just to try and curb. You said you don't learn anything. Maybe force people to learn, and then I don't know.
No,
I'm
that's
actually wondering if it's inevitable we're gonna get dumb.
no, that's a fair point. Now, I
And
don't know if you're saying like replace teachers or nothing like that. Obviously not.
Mm-mm,
But just
mm-mm.
as a tool in school, just like when you get on their Wi-Fi, you can't access certain websites and stuff. Like that's definitely something I can see being possible. There's a specific LLM for kids at this school or for kids in school, period, and it is also regulated. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see that being
I
something that's not
understand
possible.
that, but they already restrict TI-80s, and especially when the biggest focus, especially with education, is an individual, student's ability to actually know and retain information.
Yeah.
Would this not just be a further detriment
Now,
because they're not actively having to learn? Become a passive, quick give interaction.
now
Just a
I'm not saying
housekeeping
that
thing, real
we
quick.
need to have it. My
Yeah,
bad.
just a housekeeping thing. Van Allen, like I don't know if if your sensitivity is not high enough, but every once in a while you cut out a word. And
Discord just hates me, but I'll try my
okay,
best.
yeah. Okay, sorry about
It's
that.
probably
It's
a
just,
game thing, yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, I was gonna say I'm not saying we need this in school. I was saying if it were to if we can't avoid this situation, then we have to do something about it. But I'm not saying like yes, kids should work with it in school.
But I keep on hearing all these like soft implementations or possible pushes that we could have with it, when in my mind,
Mhm.
outside of even the all of it is just a continuous detriment that we will see.
But what isn't?
So I don't even understand.
What other field have we not seen that? Like as
Of
time
technology.
and
Similar.
society progresses, like we have one set of issues and it just progresses into a new set of issues. You know, I would even argue like we found cures for a lot of psychological illnesses and people abuse them. You know, it's like I don't know, we can't really stop fuck ups. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna come and we got to deal with
Mhm.
them.
I mean,
It's gonna bring a whole new set of
Same.
problems.
it's my greatest concern that we are at the stage where these kinds of questions need to be answered, and the people we trust to take it seriously are just not taking it seriously. So we could end up
I agree.
with the long-term detriment that Van fears, or we could end up with the enhancement to society that we all want to see from it. But the general aggression of the way markets move, and when salespeople get a hold of emerging technologies and try to push it on everyone, that's being put on the back burner, and we're so unchecked, unregulated. I mean, turn the humanity off of AI, and we all remember Mecha Hitler on X, not too long
Yeah.
ago, and that's exactly what an unregulated AI platform looks like, man. Like it just so we have to we need to start.
And yeah.
I am going to be talking hopefully in the near future to my local representatives, my people that I send to Congress, and they're like, hey, you need to start really addressing this, but I don't even know if they'll listen to me. I wouldn't listen to me.
What I want to ask about this regulation stuff is, the thing is, you want that, you do, but they don't understand it. The people that are in leadership roles, and I'm not American, but I can tell you that that's it. The people that are in leadership roles in companies, in government, in everywhere, they don't freaking understand how this thing works, and then they're trusted with how it must be regulated. So they like you guys were saying about this like insidious kind of, the companies that are developing this, they have all the power because they have this black box, and they just can tell you they can tell you what you need to know about it just to make it sound nice. And the regulation just is based on what they're allowed to know. We need people that are in the know to advocate for this regulation.
I don't think it's even just we need representatives that are in the know. I think, unfortunately, especially with what we see of the Elon Musk Donald Trump coalition that they had, is a hyper technocracy that is wanted by the Fed, especially with what of this Bitcoin implementation, without much actual oversight or recognition on the economic theory scale of how it's just a self-regulating that grows off of a fiat.
Well, you can select so many people at the highest level of our government right now, or in seats of Congress, and they are no more than 2 degrees of separation away from the CEO of Palantir, which their whole business is gobbling up information, which is another reason AI, these models are so dangerous in their current form, because the same way Facebook was used to just gather up information when it was first made available to public markets, AI is being used the same way, if not more aggressively too, because of how the input and response feedback and all of that dopamine looping and everything that goes on with giving those affirmative responses from Claude, where it's like, wow, that's a really good, smart idea, buddy. And people are just like, yeah, let me tell you my social security number, friend. And it's their it
Send your social security numbers in chat to make sure that we're going
yeah,
through this.
donate the dollar amount
Exactly.
as your social security number in
True.
chat.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Just made a name. Don't forget. That's the most important part.
True. I wonder. I do. Should we not just embrace this? Like, if, and I tend to agree with Kitty here, it is just inevitable. Maybe it does make us dumb.
scared, actually.
Hmm?
But that's it. But we're happier.
Yeah, but we're happier.
Sorry.
Why not? So, well, if I want to download Grok into a Japanese sex robot body, okay, and I want to just close my doors, have AI generate me any movie I want, AI generate me any story I want to read, AI generate. It's going to get to the point where I can just say, Grok, generate me a game with these parameters, and it'll be able to kind of do it, right? What's wrong with that? Let me live my
You will
hedonistic
live
life.
and die in a prison of your own creation. It's a prison of the mind.
But there's
going to
be sex robots and cool stories.
And that's not fulfilling.
Yeah.
This is fulfilling.
Wait, how can you say it's not though if it is?
It's a simulation. It's a simulacra of fulfillment. It's not.
It's the
It's all you
good
know.
for the soul.
It's all you know. It's all
Well,
you
is
know.
the
Your life,
purpose
your
the
life.
point of like? Is the purpose of life hedonistic, eudaimonic human flesh?
Here's what I'm gonna do,
That's
Van.
the question you're
Here's what I'm
truly
gonna do,
getting.
Van. I'm gonna hire one of these companies to generate a robot that looks just like you, download an AI into it, trained on everything you said on the internet, and then I'm gonna talk to you and then beat the crap out of this robot and pretend it's you. That's what we're gonna do, okay? That's what we're gonna lead to, okay? And I'm
Not
gonna do
Sounds
this thing
kinky.
where
Not
we're gonna
illegal.
have
Sounds kinky.
we're gonna have all my enemies, their AI heads, their little robot heads are gonna be here,
There you go.
right? I'm gonna take donations, okay, for me to do
Which one
horrific
can
things
speak?
for each of these heads, okay? That's where we're heading.
Oh, God.
That's
You
where
gotta
we're
keep
heading.
an extra eye on the Andrew Wilson though one because it might start stealing the copper out of your wall for cigarettes.
No, but
You know who doesn't love an echo
on.
chamber?
What would-
You
what-
and all of your little
what
AI
should-
friends can give you
well,
the answers you
let
want.
me ask you a question. Should there be any regulation that would stop me from doing that if I wanted to? If I wanted to just like, I'm going to 3D print a robot body of Logic's here, and then, I don't know, I'm just, every once in a while when I get mad, I'm just going to beat him. Should there be
Yes,
any
we should
law
have
against that?
private IPs per individual so we cannot have this come to fruition, or like the whole AI cherry or whatever Ludwig's girlfriend is situation come to pass.
Well, what
I
would
mean,
be...
but like this is the I want to touch on the whole "this is all you know" kind of thing because it plays into old philosophy archetypes of Plato's cave and everything like that. The inherent yearning to know if anything more is out there, and in popular media, the Matrix defined this pretty well. Our first model, we gave everybody everything they wanted. There was no pain, there was no strife, there was no disease, and they rejected it. And it was a massive failure.
I mean, in degrees outside of all of this, Wick, if what is like Google, how they're possibly sentient is coming to pass, and we already have stories like Detroit Become Human, where what truly separates them from other humans. Why should you have the right over what is another entity that has self-autonomy?
But these don't
Who
have
are you to
self-autonomy.
force your whim upon it?
That's another good reason, man. We shouldn't go through with it because now we're gonna give hyper progressives another thing to fucking bitch about.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I
Thank
don't
you,
know if
Van.
he's doing
We
this in the
solved it.
privacy of his own home, and I would say as
Yeah.
far as that regulation would go, there needs to be like you said, if it's super lifelike, there needs to be like some type of indication that this is not a real person, like something visibly or audibly lets you know that there's no way you can mix up your robot from the actual person. And if you want to beat my ass in your crib because you don't like me, but it ain't me, I don't really care
It
that
wouldn't
much
bother you at all?
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, if someone did that,
as long as you don't
would
do it
bother
to
me.
me, I don't
Sex-
care.
Only if
well,
it's
the
a
question
sex
is-
spot, because
hold
if
on.
it's a kink, I want to be a part of it.
Oh,
Yeah, you can just ask me.
Okay. This is a question. Do we have ownership over our likeness and ourselves? Or should we have ownership over our likeness? Should, if you use my body for your AI perversions, should I be able to stop you?
If you
If you're gonna make money off of it, yes. But if you're not making money
Yeah.
off of it, I don't think so.
in terms
That
of
would
Steve-
just
in terms of
necessitate a
legal-
federal
That's reasonable.
two-party, like a complete two-party state, like, legalization. That would be like the only way to actually implement something like that.
Like you couldn't
Seems
use my
horrific,
likeness to go
actually.
commit a crime
Yeah.
and not face consequence for it.
I
I
think
mean,
that's reasonable. It's
but
icky.
if you had an android that looked like me and you just used it to fuck it or beat the shit out of it or whatever, you can do that because it's your property. But if you take that android and you're like, go rob that bank, and it's my face, well then you're fucked
Sure,
because
but
Okay, and you
wouldn't-
take that
Go ahead.
android, and that android goes. I don't know. See, does it have to be a 1-to-1? So if Wick fucks the android, right? That's fine. But then he invites his friends over for the to fuck the android as well. Like, when,
it's his
when does
property.
it? When
Oh,
does
yeah,
the line?
what-
It
Yeah.
would
sound
be
like a
wrong
fun
with that?
time. I mean,
it's weird.
It's a
It's
fun time.
weird.
Yeah,
Don't
well,
share
Nick's
your
Talking
house-
house.
about just
house is
well,
gonna
talking
smell
about
weird.
these
Hold on.
unnecessary metaphysical contemplations.
aren't-
If we do
these are not
perceive that these have a
metaphysical.
degree of
These are not metaphysical. This is something that will come in the near future. And I'm
Mhm.
curious to the panel, do you think that you should be able to stop Kitty? If someone was doing that to the likeness of you, would you want to be able to say, hey, no, that's not okay, and prevent
Well,
them
Yeah, I
legally
think I
from
would
doing
want
it?
to.
Are
think
you
I would
putting it
want
on the
to.
internet?
No,
If somebody
someone doesn't like Kitty, okay, and they come to Kitty and they tell her, and that this is what I'm doing. I do it every
Please,
weekend. We
can
have
I
a
scan
party at
you?
my house,
Yeah.
okay,
right.
and we all take turns on the likeness of you, okay. Should she be able to have a legal right to say you're using my likeness in a way I do not approve of? Stop that
Yeah.
shit.
Oh yeah. To that. I was about to say like
Legally or morally?
you
Either
Yeah,
one.
can't
that's the thing. Mhm.
morally too. Like you
No,
can't.
morally, of course you should, but
Morally versus legally. That's the thing. Well, I'll be
yeah.
because morally, I'll tell you, it's icky, and I don't like
Yeah.
the idea. It kind of encroaches on my dignity in a way. It's like you taking. It does feel like because it's my likeness. There's some human squishy human thing
Yeah.
that I don't like about it. But when it comes to legislation against that, I'm like, I don't know. Would I want that?
You
Yeah, I don't know if
it's
I would
it's
want
the whole
to.
it's a
Morally abhorrent, but it's
unfalsifiable
legally
hypothesis.
acceptable.
Yeah. Yeah,
What'd you
you can't 100% prevent someone
It's
from doing something in the full privacy of their home, right? But if you find
Yeah.
out about it, you should be
Yeah.
able to be like, excuse me, police.
Yeah, I think maybe the scanning process or the whatever. Yeah, if you find out, I think that you should have some sort of right. I think you should have some kind
Yeah.
of right over your likeness. I think we have to start developing that absolutely with deep
Well,
fakes.
Well, you
Going
do have a right over your likeness. It's just that should
Public.
a company that makes these models or whatever
Ah.
have a liability to disclose that people's
Yes.
likenesses are being used to make
yes,
them.
yes, I
Yes.
agree with that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do think so.
Mm.
Like if
Yeah,
I clearly
like,
just
yeah.
took a
If you-
snapshot of someone's Facebook page and was like, make this for me,
But
so I
do
can
you-
how would
expect
that
it
be
to-
Do you
different?
guys-
Hold on. How would that be different? Okay, in a real way,
Mhm.
from someone simply, and I'll use Audacity as an example this time, right? Say, hey Audacity, I'm just letting you know that every time you're on stream, me and my bros, we circle jerk it to you every time. We do it every time you're on stream. We have videos of you on stream. It's not an Android or anything. Should you be able to have a legal recourse to have them say, hey, you cannot use my likeness in that way? Because that would seem
Mhm.
to open up a lot of weird can of worms. And then the question is, if you don't think that, right? If you don't think there should be any legal right for you to be like, hey, stop gooning to me, bro. What makes an Android different?
So any media that this stream being media, right? This face-to-face conversation or anything like that, where you could actually collect visual data of me to interface with, and maybe you do all that fun stuff with these streams afterwards. But this me coming on here, showing my face and doing everything is voluntary on my part. And whatever you do with that once the stream is turned off, and even if you disclose it to me because I volunteered to come on here, I willingly gave you this media. I can't really do anything about it other than choose to, one, not interact, two, try to try to go to the police to be like, hey, this is restraining order
Harassment?
territory. Yeah, like harassment, like whatever digital harassment laws are out there. I know Europe has digital harassment laws like this, where people can seek, government supported recompense for these kinds of actions and stuff like that. But the USA, it's really, I mean, we're seeing what the media, what sharing of media and what people do with it afterwards is going on with right now with a certain streamer. But yeah, I mean, there's some recourse, but there's not a lot of really well-defined recourse. I mean, it would be on me
These
to
are the
just not
questions.
interact with you.
Yeah, this is the questions like we gotta ask. So $2 from Gelatinous Rube to say Mecha Wickler. True, it's coming. Okay. $5
It's in the
from
mail.
$5 from Peak to say it's coming regardless. It will never be banned worldwide. Adopt new tech or get left behind by the rest of the world.
Yep.
$2 from Lizendez Walls to say idea misuse AI and it calls you cringe every hour. The scored one, I should say, for $5 says you don't have a right to your likeness for clarity. Well, that's the question. Should we? And also, can I make a bot that looks like my neighbor's kid and mimics her personality? Bro.
Fuck off.
Bro.
Jesus Christ.
Liked that.
Bro. Come on.
Just to clarify,
guess-
nobody is
Gross,
specifically
dude.
for like a wide internet ban like TikTok. I think it's just
Yeah.
massively a conversation, potential regulation.
Yeah, a proper rights. You have to really it feels like what's going to, so in certain instances like with jobs and things like that, I'm like, okay, market correction kind of thing. But something like this, you know, in terms of the rights of your likeness and stuff, those kind of things need to be discussed.
Yeah, because that super chat,
Oh,
as
yeah.
gross as it is,
the problem.
is it illustrates a problem with not having a right to your likeness, with not being able to say you can't use my likeness to do X, Y, or Z.
The thing is,
And that's
go ahead, Vin.
Yeah, go ahead, Vin.
well, I was just gonna say, outside of like what I proposed, where it would be the necessity to, where it would, it keeps on breaking up, where it would be the necessity of a two-party
To your face,
consent.
brother.
It's my face.
No,
dude,
to
it's
your
just
face.
so
your
dry.
microphone to your face, because it's the sensitivity. It's just not
You
picking
can turn
up.
the game down.
So-
Turn the game down. Turn the game down. if you could talk, if you're gonna talk closer, you need the game down because you had turned it up.
Oh yeah.
Well, not
Yeah,
that
I think
much.
it's the limiter on your mic actually, because you
Yeah.
get too loud apparently. Yeah.
So you know what? I just forget my point. I'm gonna try and fix the Chris. Give me
Yeah.
1 second.
I want the one thing I forgot to mention is that there is a transformative or transfer degree of liability if you take someone's likeness to a company to have them create that for you. Now you can't, like, this is like a thing with guns where I can make guns in my own house. I am not allowed to sell them because of all of the federal regulation on selling them and them needing to be serialized. But if I can go buy kits and everything and make like ARs and shit in my basement if I wanted to. That's why the tarp's up. Never mind.
Yeah, but we're not in these scenarios. We're not talking about selling. We're not talking about financial transactions. I don't want to sell the access to my
But did you go to a company to get it made?
It's something I use for my own personal use, and my friends come over every once in a while, right?
But how
I
did
guess-
you obtain it? Did you make it yourself? Do you have that capability?
Let's say well, what would be the difference if I didn't?
So
It would be being made through a company, which would then be able to be held liable compared to you for your private utilization. That's why the firearm example was actually a perfect one, because SIG is dealing with their own bullshit. But you know, I can jerry rig my own pistol, and if it blows up, there's nothing happening.
it's on me.
Bro.
Exactly.
Well, your gain is still.
It seems like we're
Like if you,
we're getting to the point. Sorry. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say like it was better when you got closer, but you just had to turn the gain down slightly, not heavily. I was gonna say, I guess it would come down to what is the harm of the personal use. That's why he was talking about like selling it, and when you use other people's likeness for financial gain without their permission, committing crimes, all of that. Now there's some type of harm being caused. So I guess when it comes to the whole personal use thing, I can't, as much as it makes anybody uncomfortable as it should, I just can't find a good enough reason to be like, no, you can't do personal
Because you're
things that.
principled.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can't see the way of saying like
That's
you can't
fair.
do something personally,
But
even if
if
it involves
yeah.
somebody's likeness.
If that's the case, then we have to, and that's a principled stance. But if we do uphold that principle, one of the side effects of upholding that principle will be there will be situations where it will be very uncomfortable, and we will have to deal with these very uncomfortable facts of the matter. Right now, for example, I could take a screenshot of this panel, okay, and I could use it in thumbnails, or other people could use it in thumbnails, right? I could put it on a shirt and all these things, as long and nothing would be able to stop me. So I mean, legally, liability wise, principle
Yeah,
wise, why couldn't I do that and make a robot of all of us and then make us fight to the death? Our robots, our
I
AI
mean,
robots, just fight to the death for our amusement over and over again.
outside of utilizing what is our likeness for AI robots, you brought up an exact issue directly. If you used it to sell shirts, you would be utilizing our likeness without the prior agreement and separation of contract and division of cost,
Right.
where then it would be a legal issue. This goes once
For
again
profit.
into the private versus what would be profiteering utilization of it, where, like I said earlier, it is a fortunately moral issue to do what you've been describing, but it is, if it's completely private, a legal one. Like, we all hate the fact of that one guy who drew Keemstar daughter, like, weird lolly situation shit, but like he was completely, unfortunately, legally allowed to draw it. Like, that's
lot of
the
the
reality
thing-
of these situations.
That's interesting
when
because
we-
in the States he's legal, in
Fib,
Europe
just
he's
real
not.
quick, $5 from the Scored wanted to say, you may represented what my comment meant, dude. You shouldn't be allowed, but there are no current laws preventing it, and that's a problem. Thank you for the $5. Kitty, go
I
ahead.
was just laughing at what you said. No. Well, actually, going back to the Scorned One's comment there, when it comes to us talking about likenesses and stuff, we can have these flexible kind of understanding things, but then when it comes to children, I think for a lot of people, for the most people, thank goodness, that is a line that just cannot be and should not be crossed. That's at the point where it seems like a lot of shared morality arises, and we are completely happy with legislating against that and legislating morality. We're going, okay, let's make it illegal for the likeness of a child to be used in that manner. No matter how private you are, that's it. If we find out that's happening, that is CP, that is it. You are on a list. You're a problem. Wood chipper if it's up to me. But now, would that be part of this legislation, or are we going to get into the arguments of, it's not harming anyone, so it's fine. We can let that happen. It'll only become harm once it moves outside of this likeness doll.
Going back to what I was
Sorry.
saying of how it would exacerbate issues, I completely agree. Throw them in the wood chipper. But if they did have an ability to access what would be some platform to readily create what is this depravity that they desire, wouldn't that just accelerate the issue more so? Especially if we allowed it and didn't, as you said,
Yeah.
wood chipper them.
That's why I'm saying, like, that's why we would, the reasoning, the mechanism we use when we make those laws is, yeah, fine, it wouldn't exactly harm someone in at that time, but we assume and we caution ourselves and say, yeah, that person's probably we're fostering something in them. So that brings me back to the now, say, adult version. What are we fostering in people if we allow the adult version as well, where we allow abuse of essentially the most humanoid thing ever? What are we fostering in each other? It seems like the further we go into technology here, the close we have to get softer and squishier about humanity. We have to actually go back to our moral standing. What do we really, really care about? To the point where we have to regulate it.
$5 from Rabbit
Otherwise, we're
Wombat
just going to be destroyed. Yeah.
says, "What if an AI company made an AI model that looks exactly like you before you're born? Do you have to license your likeness from them? They were first." I'm not sure how that could happen.
That's
That's
funny
fucking
because
bad
I was
luck.
gonna ask y'all about this. Do y'all know the website "This Person Doesn't Exist"?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that
I
it's
mean, I
funny
wanna
that they
go there.
say that.
I don't. What is
There's a
that?
website. There's a website that generates random people, but they're not real people. And if I just showed you, like, yeah, this is my cousin, you'll be like, oh, it looks just like just some normal person, and it's just they don't exist apparently. And it's just funny that they say that because I was like when we was having this conversation about like the legality over your likeness. I was thinking of situations like that. Like what do we do at the point where people that don't exist are generated, and then there's somebody that actually exists with this face out there, which is very much so possible. Like that website is so crazy that them people don't exist.
The default to that, or the logical conclusion to that is you default to the actual person and not to
human.
the robot.
Yeah.
Well, I was
So
gonna
they just-
say-
they just cease to exist.
What could let me ask this
What
question?
if somebody made money off this random person, and then somebody comes about that exists?
Well,
if they
and
already
now it's
made
like,
money.
well, no more income. Like what?
Yeah, well, no, well, you
Human
could cease future operations. You couldn't collect on anything that was done, but
Right.
you can be like, hey, this is me. Please stop, and hopefully
is
they
me
would
now.
fucking stop.
Well, you guys are talking about this as if it's some like absurd conspiracy theory,
No,
but
it's
we've had the
not.
dead
No,
internet
we're
theory
completely-
for
no,
like
we're
7
dead.
years.
No,
Like this is an actual.
Hold on, you're
No,
gay,
not the
bro, you're
generation
gay. I
of,
don't know what's
like-
wrong with your mic. No, we're gonna have to fix that next time you come on before you come on again. But like your
Is-
mic is just your audio.
You can
is-
just turn them down though.
Can you
I
turn the
guess so.
Usually, I'm the bad one, man.
Oh, like him
Yeah.
him. We turn them down ourselves.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah, you could turn him
do
down,
that.
but it
Oh,
will
yeah.
still be
I
distorted.
guess.
That's
well,
fine.
Well, let's move on to something like this. If I were to generate a clip of Kitty, okay, and I put a short 15-second clip of her, and I used AI to have her saying something she never said, something like, "Kitty says that Wick is the best moderator ever," right?
True.
Should she be able
Never said it.
to have me to stop me from doing that, like to say, "Hey, I never said this. Take this
It's like
down. If you
defamation.
don't, I
Yeah.
will."
It's defamation of
if you're
character.
trying to
It's
pass it off
directly.
as
It's
real.
that exactly.
Yeah,
It's
but she's not
defamation of
saying anything-
character.
Joe Rogan's already doing it because of the
Yeah.
fake AI generated commercials that were using his face and likeness to go about it, because he was like, it makes sense to totally use Joe Rogan to push supplements, but even he had to be like, I've never had this shit in my life, and they're using my voice and my likeness to sell a product. Yeah, no, that is not allowed.
Well,
I'm pretty sure it's already
outside,
illegal.
outside of what we have now of like the wonderful creations of these AI videos that are associated, we've had legal suits brought about defamations of character from famous actors just when it comes to the utilization of their vocal cords to like sell, advertisement, or like one of the biggest ones was car insurance in like the 90s.
Yeah, I think that would be easily sought out because we already have things like that exist. Like,
It seems like there are a lot of problems here. You can see we can pick up all the problems with AI, but I think the fact that it's inevitable means that all we have to do is just be working on solutions to the problem.
yeah, like
And
I agree
how
with
do you feel-
Audacity said. I just think that it's not being taken seriously enough. I think that's the biggest thing. Like this is serious, and I just think they're like really pulling. They're taking too long to do something about it.
Yeah,
Well,
they're
then how
dragging
do we
their feet.
feel, especially about being those people who are vocal about it, saying, like, would you say now, vote now, yes, implement a tax reduction on its utilization for businesses and some type of ID check for private use?
Tax
Like, I vote for
reduction.
that.
I was thinking tax
Tax increase.
increase.
Tax
Yeah.
increase, not, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I was.
I mean,
thinking.
I would agree to anything that helps curtail the rapid and aggressive deployment of this right
Yeah, I think
now.
the speed. Yeah.
I mean, if there was a bunch of businesses and they were making their own models to do the work that they needed done. I wouldn't have as much as an issue with that, but a lot of these businesses are buying off the shelf kind of, or implementing a lot of off the shelf models to fill gaps where these models weren't really intended to fill. They are making things worse. They're making quality assurance and quality control vectors more stressful, and yeah, it just needs to. It doesn't. You can't stop it, but it needs to like be slowed down. And
Slowed.
the whole reason it's so aggressive is because there's a price tag attached to it. And anytime a salesperson gets a hold of technology, it's always a fucking disaster.
I agree that the idea of it being a price tag is making it so much of a more like real issue prevalent in the world. But in my mind, this is just massively like, would you guys agree or disagree with that?
Massively, we really need to hear that one. Massively
Wait,
what?
massively what?
It's massively a fad. It's something that will fade over
Okay.
time.
I think.
What do you think I said?
Could have been something.
it
Is
cut
it
out.
breaking up that bad?
It cut out.
It cut out as soon as you went.
Usually we can. Usually it's like part of a word, so we know what you're saying. But that one was like, ah.
Yeah.
But I think that this is going to be another kind of a bubble that bursts with.
Oh,
when you
it's
talk
already
the other
bursting.
way. It needs to hurry up and burst even harder because these again with the salespeople, they are driving tech people, real tech people, insane. I suppose probably like you can relate, where it's like the AI cannot do everything. Okay, stop putting AI at the end of your company name. Okay, because oh cool, our shares are gonna blow up, whatever, and then eventually they are not going to deliver on their things, or they're actually going to fuck up majorly. People are gonna die. They're gonna land up, I don't know, committing suicide because they spoke to the chatbot and shit like that.
Right.
All of that's going to happen. And that's actually
It already is.
stuff.
That's the sad reality.
Well, I
want to hold on. I want to take issue with this idea that the bubbles
Ooh.
bursting in this, because I see this as something that is being taken up by the public at a rate that is going higher and higher and higher. So I'm not talking about corporation and sales and things like that, but I'm talking about adoption by people in our society. It's the common use of LLMs primarily.
I have a
especially,
different
right?
definition of adoption.
Oh,
Sorry.
fair enough. But
Didn't it take 2 months or something for us to get to 100 million users of ChatGPT?
yes.
So anyway, sorry.
Very quickly, and more people are using it, and they're just day to day, right? I'm not talking like monetization and things like that.
Yeah.
Logic's talked about his thumbnail shit, right? Logic's saying help to redesign his room and things like that, make it more aesthetically appealing and things like that. I just see this. I don't see this as a bubble. I don't think it's going away. I don't think we can. I just don't see a way to stop it outside of like really heavy-handed regulation, which I don't think is probably appropriate. But
so the market bubble is bursting, and that's because the rate of return on this implementing it into your business is not as high as it was. As for people accessing the software, the platforms to be able to interact with it, that number is going up. But actual adoption of the software, where people are becoming dependent on it in a way, that number is increasing, but not nearly as high as a rate as when businesses were adopting it. Not nearly as high as a rate as when people were initially accessing it just out of curiosity.
All I'm saying is that there is a lot with the utilization of it, especially in the private front. Is to offload a lot of either personal research or just actually thinking about a topic. Like the greatest example in my mind is freaking Twitter with Grok, and it is going to create its own defeating bubble with how it went full on mecha Hitler, but furthermore of how people are just so readily using it and it giving them the wrong answers.
Well, you kind of answered your own. You kind of answer your own issue with this because, as you said, it is a fad. It is something that is popular right now. To under every like political post or whatever you see, to go underneath that post to be like, "Grok, is this real?" Like it's a meme.
That's a meme,
point.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately was the opioid epidemic. Still necessarily had to have legislation on pharmaceutical companies, and therefore so we should also with these LLM companies that are making these AIs. even though it's just a fad right now, we need legislation upon these creators. And not creators in the way that like directly targeting in just the manners of
Logix was trying to say something, and then Kitty was trying to say something.
I kind of got the opioid kind of threw me off. I forgot my thought
That's fine.
because I didn't know how I felt about it as a comparison. That it feels like a slippery slope there, but I'm not gonna say it's just it won't cause like irreparable harm. I'm not gonna say that. But as far as what Wick was saying about the daily use, I think my point was like Audacity touched on it basically. Like it's just people like, you know, what's the best way to bathe my cat? Like it's not like this nefarious activity going on and stuff like that. For the as far as the daily access, I think we agree that a lot of people are lazy and a lot of people probably don't even want to take the time to learn it and really figure it out. Like I showed it to my wife and it's just like we get some like questions for a book that my daughter's reading to quiz her on reading it. You know, like I think that's really practical and I think anybody can get behind maybe doing something like that. But as far as like, you know, all the shit we're talking about with the lube robots, those people are going to get their fix whether LLMs exist or not. And again, it's just another avenue for people to do things. It's just another tool that people can use or abuse. So
I have a question specifically, even with the whole, you know, child, you know, creating questions for them front that you addressed. Are you not removing what is that significant connection, you know, in this, you know, scenario you described of that connection between you and your child to actually figure out what they're learning? Create the cards or even make it into a fun game style like, you know, board games or something. Like you are losing that human connection that does come with, you know, active learning like I was talking about earlier.
Well, not necessarily because I can use it to give me the idea to implement it. You know what I'm saying? Like I can use it to give me the idea because I'm not that like creative artsy. So I'm like, what's some ideas for active engagement? And now I have something versus I probably couldn't have found it as easier. And I'll just be like, oh, did you read the book? And then like, yeah. And then I would have to read it too, and I don't necessarily have time for that. I think it's practical. Like I can't read my child's book with them. I could look up the summary and stuff, but I won't get the details. I could say, ChatGPT, can I get 5 questions on this book, chapter blah? I don't think I'm losing anything there. I think I'm actually gaining something because I don't know how I would have. Yeah, I don't know another way that I can do that because unless I read the book, I don't know if my child is engaging with it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's just a new
I get
way
what you're
to help
saying.
them.
Well, no, I get what you're saying, and this is a very specific. Well, I was just going to say, and this is a very specific point, but then it can lead into issues where, let's say, you are making these type of questionnaires for your child, but it's upon a book that is now a societal we don't want within our schools to be taught. You may actually be losing what is this growing issue simply because you're offsetting what is a, you know, necessary active learning application to what is just a passive quick grab. And I think it's like it's the gay book. I don't remember the big one, but it was the gay book that all the conservatives yelled about. Like that would be an example in this case.
But what I don't get what's being lost. If without it, there would be no engagement. Honestly, this is just reinforcing what she read to make sure she read it. Otherwise, it's like, okay, yeah, read chapter 2, and then what?
Tell me
like,
you
what
read
am
it.
I? Yeah, like, what did I? I'm not losing anything.
You grow a greater connection having read the book yourself and being able to formulate your own questions on it.
But is that practical?
Yeah.
That and it being
is that practical for me to read every book that my child reads? And I'm not talking about
being
like,
a parent isn't practical, and it's all about the amount of effort you want to put in on it, man. Like it is a struggle to try and keep up with everything they're gonna do. But it's also another point to that, specifically the AI. Specifically in the case of AI. You can't trust the question, at least in the current model, you can't trust the questions it's going to generate because it might hallucinate something or make up a character.
You're telling me like, that didn't happen?
Yeah, or maybe like, that didn't happen, or maybe like, make something up because I'm trying to go to bed or play video games right now. Like, there is a static disconnection here by using this to perform those kinds of human tasks.
I need y'all to explain why, because I can't wrap my mind around losing a connection and you're basically saying like, everything your child does in school, you need to do it with them. That makes you a good parent. That's not realistic.
I cannot remember the last 3 things I asked Claude AI in whatever context I was asking it for information. I will remember this conversation because there's a various plethora of details to it. Your face, Van's face, Kitty's face, Wick's face, all the decorations in
You'll
everybody's
never
rooms.
forget my face, sir. But go ahead.
All the decorations in everybody's rooms, how quickly everybody responds to a question or topic, how everybody looks, the details on their face when somebody's talking about something, how you look to the left, the right. These are all things that register on a subconscious level that allow people to retain information, recall
LLMs
it
can
better.
develop a facial model, facial structure. We already talked about the this person doesn't exist website. We could already.
It doesn't
do this.
register.
You don't think it does?
It doesn't register as even if I would. So this is where I need to step back a little bit because I could say to us right now it wouldn't register, but we grew up in the real world. Maybe if you started doing that to an infant from the time it was born to the time it became an adult, it would. But
I promise you, we can get we can we can get
we can get an infant.
no.
We can,
no. We can make
we can,
a model, an AI model that you would not be able to tell if that's a real person or not talking to you.
Eventually, we're going to. Anyway,
Eventually,
it doesn't
yeah.
matter whether we have it now or not. Anyway, the point is, it's going to get better. AI, as it is right now, is the worst it's going to be. Like literally, it's only going to get better. So yeah, that's in. It doesn't matter whether we have it or not. So what's the thing here? You're saying that what it'll be too convincing and that will be detrimental to children. When did we jump into that?
If it ever develops into a point where it's so convincing that one of us couldn't tell the difference, I think it's at a point in development where it kind of doesn't matter. But right now, it matters. It doesn't in terms of information, generating information, creating human connection right now. AI will not be able to bridge that gap. It's just not currently functional in that regard. In the future, maybe, yeah, that's what, 10, 20, 30 years from now. But also but to just real quick, just the thing that Logic's touched on earlier is that, there needs to be the disclosure that something is AI or generated and whatever. So when you're interfacing with this fake human face that it's not a real human face. That might break the illusion. That might cause some setbacks, or it may not do anything at all. Who knows?
Well, I was just going to say another issue with its implementation, especially with stuff like Twitter, is kind of what we saw early on with like the whole Ben Shapiro and like Palestine war, where he posted the picture of all those unfortunately deceased babies, and it immediately turned into a hyper partisan conversation on if this is an AI generated like picture. Mm-hmm. But when people actually try to test it against like a AI generator finder, it kept on saying it is a fake picture and it's a real picture. Like even when it comes to our actual abilities to test what is an AI creation, we're still unsure.
Yeah, and we'll have to continue to develop the technologies, the anti-AI technologies around AI. But we have to hope that the powers that be to do this work are earnest and want the truth out there.
Outside of legislation and outside of the legal recourse and things like that, what, if anything, can be done culturally to solve any of these things, or societally, or within your own personal life or your friend group or what have you? Like, what are some things, if anything, we can do to kind of lessen the harms that AI might cause? Should we shame people? Let me give you an example. A direct question. Should we shame people who use Grok or ChatGPT in a debate? Should that be something that we make fun of them for?
Yes and no. I was going to say the way they did Wikipedia growing up, you can't use Wikipedia. Anybody could do anything. I think AI could get that type of scrutiny too. Like, I think we should just have a understanding, like, don't rely on that to be, the Bible for you. Just use it as a tool. If it tells you something, double check it elsewhere. That's what I do. That we've been doing that anyway, so it shouldn't be that. Hopefully, most people do. Just cross-reference it with other things. Don't just take it as gospel and run with it. The debate thing, I think it depends.
So, like, I'm actually of the camp that we should pull an Andrew Wilson and just shame people into complete subjugation not to
Yo.
utilize it. And then what we should also do is implement, Tim Pool, fucking Bud Light, just no longer working with companies that make them and use them and what. We just need to go as extreme as possible against it socially.
The chatters cringe every hour idea was a really good idea. I really like that idea where it just starts making fun of you. That would really register with the younger generation too.
Yeah, that would work with the younger people. Yeah.
They would love it. What do
I'll
you
be
mean?
right back.
They're
It's like,
all
why
so
are you coming to
toxic.
me for this? Why are you coming to me?
True.
Yes, to make it do a parent thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you want tips
That's
on
what
how
a
to
parent would do.
you want to generate a picture, right, of a woman? Why don't you go talk to one before?
Yeah.
You send me a voice recording. And
I
you
wouldn't
saying
be
hi to
mad
a
at
woman,
that.
Okay.
I wouldn't be
If-
mad
if
at that.
your
And they'll
AI
never
tells-
do it again. They'll be so embarrassed.
It'd be funny.
But if your AI tells you to touch grass, how offended would you be? Like, if Grok
don't
right
know.
now told you, bro, you're on me too much, go touch grass.
They're going to do it probably.
I don't know.
Mm.
I'm just saying. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do in my life. Okay. If any of my chatters, if any of my community, if anyone I know, I find out they're starting to have some kind of AI sex boyfriend or girlfriend, I don't
Mhm.
care. I'm gonna I'm gonna mock the shit out of you. Okay.
Yeah.
You are going to be mocked relentlessly until you cut that shit out. It's harming you. It's like if I found out you were doing meth, it'd be that harmful, right? I think it's gonna just destroy you.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
I
Yeah.
think that we should all
Mhm.
commit today to shame the shit out of clinker lovers, okay? Just shame the
Mhm.
shit out of them. Just make fun of them, mock them relentlessly. Yeah, I don't know. It shouldn't be socially
Absolutely, we don't
acceptable.
need the future that Futurama predicted of the world ending due to Marilyn Monroe bots. We don't need that.
Well, what about using it as a tool to streamline work?
That's another
Or-
thing to why this doesn't make the human connection though. Could you imagine if you went to your friend and you were like, "Yo, can you draw me like a big titty goth chick right now, dude? Please, for the love of God." Your friend would be like, "Get the
Yes!
fuck out of here."
That's
Hey, you can
That
do
is
it
a
and not be
great-
judged. You can do it and not be
great
judged.
cognitive behavioral tool, guys. Think about whenever you're asking something of an AI, think about if I asked my mom about this or my friend about this, what would this be? Would this be an okay request to give someone in public?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
think about it that way. Yeah.
We need to
Social
take-
pressure. This is how we survive. Okay.
We need to go from
Definitely.
Grok back to Clippy, all right? Because when you started typing something and Clippy was around, it'd be like, "Hey, it looks like you're trying to do this." And Clippy needs to come back and be like, "Are you sad right now, bro? Like, are you okay?"
I love it. Okay, gang, we've kind of run the gamut on this. We didn't get quite the 2 hours, but that's okay. I think it was a fun discussion anyway. We had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun, and I don't know if we resolved anything, but it was interesting topics, and I think we had a good discussion about it. Okay, before I let each of these people have a wonderful outro where they can tell you where you can find them, and I hope you go and reward them for coming on my show and giving us content by giving them a follow, giving them a sub to their channel. Check them out, gang. All the links to their stuff are in my YouTube description. You can go there and do that. I'm going to tell you what we got coming up. Okay, on Saturday, so tomorrow, we do have a one-on-one debate between Bentham's Bulldog and Admiral Gibbs on if Trump is a good president or not. I will be moderating that. Bentham Bulldog is a guy who set up the Shrimp Welfare Project. He's been on my show before. He's an interesting gentleman. It should be a
Was
good
that the Eat
debate.
Babies guy?
Huh?
Was he the one that was like, "I would eat the disabled babies"
Yes,
or whatever?
yes, he was
Oh,
that one.
Jesus.
How do I get in contact with him? Because I've really been wanting to have a debate.
Oh, I can see what I can do. But regardless, next week, we're gonna have quite a few shows in the works. As that gets more solid, I will give you more information on it. But for now, if you like the content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we're gonna let Van Olin go first, and we're gonna end with Kitty. Van Olin, closing thoughts. Where can people find you?
My name is Van Olin. Check me out on socials. And my final thought is we need to shame as much as we can the idea of sex bots and tax the living hell out of the clankers because we don't need Skynet. And, when it comes to the Republic or whatever the hell they were called in Star Wars, death to them. I don't want no, Roger Rogers in my Discord chat.
Okay. Go ahead, Audacity.
Yeah, I'm Audacity. I don't make any content, and you can follow me from the bushes outside of my house. This is a topic that really it requires that whole think locally, act locally, think globally type of ordeal. Like it really needs to be local community, local enforcement, local regulation. Hopefully, evolve into broader things. More than likely won't, but I don't think we're gonna see the downfall of society because it came out anytime soon, but it will cause undue stress in areas of operation, day-to-day society, where it's not needed. It will result in revenue loss, initially, eventually we'll see gain, and I don't know, man, just be normal, touch grass.
Be normal, touch grass. Thank you for being here. Logics, go ahead.
Yeah, so Logic's channel is ill Logics, but I just go by Logics. I really appreciate you, Wick, for letting me come up on the show. I had so much fun. Hopefully I can return again one day. My thoughts is again, to me, this is just a new phenomenon we have to just deal with. Trying to pretend like it's all bad, or not to say anybody here said that, but to pretend like it's all bad and we just shouldn't we should just disavow it completely, I think is just unrealistic and probably somewhat harmful. We just got to innovate and learn and adjust to everything that life throws at us, because I think that most of us love the internet and what it offers, even though it comes with some bad. We just deal with it as it comes, and yep, that's it.
Thank you for being here. As the what was the movie Starship Troopers? The scene where he said, "The internet make me the man I am today," and he pushes his chair out and you see his legs missing and things like that. I don't know if you guys remember that scene. Anyway,
I ain't see that.
no, it's good. But we're gonna give it to Kitty. Give it the last word and close us out, man.
Yeah. That Don Kitty, I do a thing called debate diagram. So I actually I enjoy examining debates more than actually having them myself. So that's what I do mostly during the week in live streams. I make mind maps of them and things like that. So look out for that. This week I'm going to be slower, but just subscribe and put on your notifications. And then I do a panel show on Thursday nights for the Americans. We pick a topic and we talk for 3 or 4 hours. And then I do slop streams on Fridays. So I've got something for everybody. Just try me out. Then just final thoughts. Yeah, I actually I think the panel made me feel, I actually changed a little bit my my feeling about the hope for the future. So the way having these conversations is actually, I know that we always say it's important to have conversations, whatever, but this kind of culture actually does really need to expand. We do need to ask these questions and have these conversations because, as we've all agreed, the development is inevitable. We need to safeguard ourselves. But I do feel a little bit better about, yeah, there will be good people out there who know what's good for us and trying to preserve us. So thanks.
Okay, no, thank you for being here. Also, I'm just curious since you did your. Well, I'll ask that after stream. I'll see you guys later. Wait, but bye, everyone. I'm gonna let everyone go.
Bye.
See you guys.